Ready? Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala nabina Muhammad. Wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Amma ba'd. To continue the study of Al-Ibanah to Sughra of Ibn Battah, rahimahullah. Last week we mentioned narration of Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As, radiyallahu an, where he said, soon the shayateen whom Sulaiman shackled will emerge and put people to trial with their doubts. And he was asked if this narration is from the Isra'iliyat, if he took this narration from the people of the book, the Isra'iliyat. So we're going to mention a benefit regarding that before we go to the new lesson. Imam al-Qurtubi, in his explanation of Sahih Muslim, called Al-Mufhim, he says this narration, because this narration is found in Muqaddimah of Sahih Muslim. He says this narration and similar to it cannot be reached with mere opinion or ijtihad. Rather, by hearing. What is apparent is that the companions relied in regards to this from the Prophet ﷺ, whilst it can also be said that he related from some people of the book. Now Sheikh Muhammad Adam al-Ethiopi, rahimahullah, he has an explanation of the Muqaddimah of Sahih Muslim, as well as Sahih Muslim itself. But it's a separate explanation of the Muqaddimah. He says, after the statement of Al-Qurtubi in his book Al-Mufhim, he says, proceed that condition for a mawquf narration, taking the ruling of marfu'. Before we continue, what does that mean, a mawquf narration? What does it mean when the scholars say this narration mawquf? It stops at a sahabi. And what does it mean that this narration is marfu'? It raised to the Prophet ﷺ. So what he's saying is here, is preceded a condition for a narration which is stopped at a sahabi, taking the ruling of being a statement of the Prophet ﷺ, is that the companion relaying that narration is not known with reporting from the people of the book. As for if he is known with that, then his narration are not raised to the Prophet ﷺ. And then the shahid here is, and here it is like that for Abdullah ibn Amr, is known for that, doing so, taken from Isra'iliyat. Thus this narration doesn't take the ruling of being raised to the Prophet ﷺ. So this narration of Abdullah ibn Amr al-As does not take hukm al-rafi'. Rather, it is a statement that most likely he took from al-Isra'iliyat. Then Ibn Battah, he says, وَقَالَ أَيُّوبَ سِخْتِيَانِ قَالَ لِي أَبُو كِلَابَةَ يَا أَيُّوبَ احفظ عني أربعا لا تقل في القرآن برأيك. Ayyub al-Sikhtiyani said that Abu Qilaba, his teacher, said to him, O Ayyub, memorize from me 4 things. لا تقل في القرآن برأيك. Do not say regarding the Quran with your mere opinion. وإياك والقدر. And beware indulging regarding al-qadr. وإذا ذكر أصحاب رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم فأمسك. And if the companions of the Prophet عليه الصلاة والسلام are mentioned, فأمسك, withhold. ولا تمكن أصحاب الأحواء من سمعك. And do not let the people of desires get hold of your hearing. فَيُنْفِذُوا فِيهِ مَا شَاءُوا. And they will do with your hearing whatever they want to do. Before we get to explanation of this athar, we already explained who Abu Qilaba, rahimahullah, is. As for Ayyub al-Sikhtiyani, then as an imam, memorizer of hadith, so they call him Sayyid al-Ulama, the leader of the scholars of his time. And it's from the minor tabi'in. Al-Hasan al-Basri, he said, Ayyub Sayyid Shabab Ahlul Basra. Ayyub is the leader of the youth of Ahlul Basra, the people of Basra. وقال كان أيوب السختياني يقوم الليل كله. Ayyub al-Sikhtiyani, he used to stand up, يقوم الليل كله. He used to stand in the night, all of it. فيخفي ذلك. And he would hide him standing up in the night. فإذا كان عند الصبح, when the morning time would come, رفع صوته. He would raise his voice, كأنه قام تلك الساعة. So that it would to make the people think he woke up at that time. He wasn't praying all night. وقال أبو هاتم وسئل عن أيوب. Abu Hatim al-Razi was asked about Abu Ayyub. He said, ثقة لا يسأل عن مثله. He is trustworthy and similar to him are not asked regarding. وقال هو رجل من أصحاب الأحواء يا أبا بكر. A person of innovation said to him, يا أبو بكر أسألك عن كلمة. I'm going to ask you about a statement. فولى ويقول. He left him and said, ولا نصف كلمة. Not even half of a statement. مرتين, 2 times. So this man, Ayyub al-Sikhtiyani, was firm upon the Sunnah and he was the Imam of Ahlul Sunnah of his time. As for this advice of Abu Qilaba, then this is a general advice and not specific only to Ayyub al-Sikhtiyani. Thus every Muslim should contemplate and ponder over it. For that reason, Shaykh Al-Raji, he mentions, if an advice or a direction or a command comes in the book of Allah or Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, or from the companions or from the tabi'een or those after them from the scholars, then what is intended is that this advice is general for everyone. This advice is general for everyone and not specified except if we have an evidence to specify it. So he gives an example. When the Prophet ﷺ was asked by a man, Awsini, give me an advice. قال لا تغضب. He said, don't get angry. فردد مرارا. The man repeated it a few times. فقال لا تغضب. He said, don't get angry. This advice is an advice for the whole ummah, not to get angry. Not to get angry, not let the anger get the best of them. It's not specific only to that man. So anytime you see an advice in the Quran and Sunnah, or a statement of the Sahaba or the Tabi'een, and it is something that they're advising with, it is a general advice unless specified with an evidence from the Quran and Sunnah that he is specifically advising a specific person. And there's instances of that. Other than that, if that's not present, then it's left general. The first advice he gave him here is, don't speak regarding the Quran with your mere opinion. Meaning, don't explain the Quran with your mere opinion. The Quran is explained with the book of Allah itself. The Quran, which is the speech of Allah, is explained with the speech of Allah itself. Or it is explained with the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, or the Arabic language, or with an opinion that is connected to the textual evidences. Or with an opinion that is connected to the textual evidences. As for mere opinion, then it's not allowed. Based upon desires, I think this, I think Allah said, no, it's not allowed to do that with the Quran. Shaykh Al-Raji mentions, it is not allowed for a person to speak regarding the Quran with his mere opinion. And the one who does so, even if he gets it right, he is mistaken. Even if he gets it right, he is still mistaken. Shaykh al-Islam, Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah, he said, whoever says in regards to the Quran with his mere opinion, then he has burdened himself with something he has no knowledge of. He has tread a path which he has not been commanded with. Even if he is correct in the meaning, he would still have been mistaken, because he did not enter the door from its right. He did not enter the affair from its right door. He did not enter his affair from the right door. Similar to the one who judges between the people upon ignorance, then even if he is right in his ruling, then he is from those who will be touched by the fire. It comes in narration, من قال في القرآن برأيه فليتبوأ مقعده من النار. Whoever says in regards to the Quran with his mere opinion, then let him take a seat in the hellfire. This narration is not authentic to the Prophet ﷺ, rather it's weak. But what does it mean, mere opinion? What does it mean to explain the Quran with mere opinion? Imam Mubarakfuri, he says, أي من تلقاء نفسه, meaning from his own self. He makes up a statement from his own self. من غير تتبع أقوال الأئمة من أهل اللغة, without looking at the opinions of the scholars of the Arabic language, والعربية المطابقة للقواعد الشرعية, or looking at how the Arabic coincides with the principles of the legislation, بل بحسب ما يقتضيه عقله. He explains the Quran with what his intellect tells him. This is mere opinion. We're not allowed to use our intellect just to explain whatever we want of the Quran and Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. Rather, we must go back to what the scholars have explained it with, based on what they got from the Quran and Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. Because he says, وَمِمَّا يَتَوَقَّفْ عَلَى النَّقْلِ, that explanation is relying upon an evidence. The explanation of the Quran is relying upon some kind of evidence or relaying of a statement. It's not sufficient just to go back to one's intellect and explain. The second thing that he advised him with is, be aware of disputing regarding qadr, or opposing it, or rejecting it, and beware of all of that. And that, the explanation of that has preceded already in some of the previous classes. Number 3, he says that the companions of the Prophet ﷺ are mentioned, then withhold and abstain from speaking regarding them. Meaning, do not curse them, do not belittle them, for cursing them does not occur from a believing heart. Cursing the Sahaba does not occur from a believing heart. Rather, a curse from a heart that has sicknesses, illnesses of hatred, and envy, and misguidance, and hypocrisy. Anyone know an evidence for that? Anyone know an evidence that from hating the Sahaba is hypocrisy? حب الأنصار من الإيمان. Loving the Ansar is from Iman. وبغض الأنصار, and hating the Ansar is from hypocrisy. Hadith of the Prophet in Bukhari, Muslim, that the Prophet loving the Ansar is Iman, and hating them is hypocrisy. So no one hates a companion except that he has in his heart some kind of illness. He says, regarding what occurred between them, then it is obligatory to abstain and withhold. Ask Allah to be pleased with all of them. No one understands their status, their virtue. Believing that they have virtue and good deed, they have precedence in Islam. They fought alongside the Prophet ﷺ, and they upheld the legislation of the Prophet ﷺ. And because of all of this, their misdoings which occurred from them will be covered up. All of these good deeds they had will cover up the misdoings that they had, even if they had misdoings. If they had misdoings, all of these good deeds will cover it up. Then Shaykh Al-Raji mentions a benefit regarding the rulings, regarding the ruling of reporting what has come regarding some affairs that may have occurred between the Sahaba. So they fall into the following categories. Number one, reports which in reality are a lie. That which occurred regarding the companions, mainly the reports which have been reported, either it is a lie, has no origin to it. Either as a lie, has no origin to it. Number two, if it has an origin to it, then you'll find in it many additions and subtractions and distortions in it. And number three, if you do find that this is authentic, then it is into the following two categories. If the Sahabi was right, he gets 2 rewards. And if the Sahabi was wrong in his judgment, he gets 1 reward still, because he judged. Now, as a benefit I want to mention, and this is something important, many people, they go look into the books of history and they read it without any understanding, without any basics that they have studied of Islam. So they go to the books of history and they find a story and they say, oh look, this story, there's a story in this book and this means that this occurred. Shaykh Al-Hajuri, when discussing this affair, may Allah preserve him, he says, a person should be warned from reading the books of history. He says a person should be warned from reading the books of history without clear insight, for in it is much evil. From that is criticizing and attacking the Salaf, radiallahu anhum. In it is narrations which are made up, or stories which don't rely upon firm foundations. And this is in reality what the heretics rely upon. These books, for that reason you find that Rawafid, he says, taken from these books. Or the atheists and like that, they go into the books of history because the narration reports which are authentic do not have any harm in them towards the Muslims, or nor do they attack or harm the religion. They only have in them good, the authentic ones. But when the ignorant ones go to these narrations in the books of history, which are in reality many of it is full of lies, you'll find that they hold on to these narrations and try to attack Islam by way of it. They say it's in your history book, you found this narration, but the narration has no authenticity to it. Narration is a lie, it's a fabrication. But because you have no basis of the science of hadith, or you have no basis of Islamic aqidah, the belief system, you found this narration in these books of history and you took it, and you walk with it. And this is why you find the Rawafid and the atheists, and those who are online and they do debates, they'll come to you, what? We found in your history book that this story was there, but the story has no asl to it. So it's very dangerous to just go look into the books of history, the Tawarikh, and look at that and say, okay, but this narration is there. Just because it's there doesn't mean it's authentic. Just because it's there doesn't mean it's a reality that actually occurred. So it's important for us to understand that point, that a lot of these stories you'll find online in these debates where the Rawafid and those who attack Islam and the Sahaba, they find us in the books of history which have no checking. They haven't been checked, they haven't been graded, they haven't been authenticated. And he just finds a story and he says, you know what, this occurred. It doesn't mean it's in the books of history that it actually occurred. So this is something that a person should pay mind to. The fourth advice he gave him was not allowing your hearing to be given to the people of desires. Do not lend your ears to the people of desires. Now the people of innovation, it's not allowed for us to listen to them and to lend our ears to them. For if you do that, they will do with you as they wish. They'll put in your heart poison and do with you as they wish. Rather, what we're advised with as Muslims is to turn away from the people of desires and hold on tight to the book of Allah and the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ upon the understanding of the Sahaba. Now, Imam Al-Shatibi, he mentioned Al-Iqtisam, and this is important speech because he says here, the angle of that which is clarified in the speech of Abu Qilaba, a man may be certain regarding his affair from the affairs of the Sunnah, and then an innovator puts in him that which in it is desires, which the wording may be upright, but in reality there's no origin to it. Or he may increase in it a restriction from his mere opinion. Thus this person's heart accepts it, and if he returns to that which he knew, he'll find it dark. Here either he has one of two options. He's heard something which is falsehood, now he has one of two options. Either he's going to reject it, say this is wrong, and he's going to reject it. or he won't be able to reject it. And if he feels that, that's what will occur to him. But if he may not even feel nothing, he may think this is actually truth, then he'll just go along with it and he'll become destroyed with the one who is destroyed. Then he mentioned a benefit here. So here we have, you heard something wrong. Either you're able to reject it because of previous knowledge you had, or you have previous knowledge, but you're not able to reject it. Now that sickness is in your heart. Whatever you heard from the innovator settles in your heart. Or you may not even feel what he said is wrong because of your ignorance. And what happens now is that you start thinking what he said was right and you go on with him on his way. Then he mentions how Imam Malik dealt with these kind of affairs. And this, if you listen to these three narrations of Imam Malik, you'll find how Imam Malik was firm upon his religion. He was in need of these doubtful affairs. The first story he mentions is Ibn Wahab said, سمعت مالكا إذ جاءه بعد أهل الأهواء يقول أما أنا. Some of the people of innovation, they came to Imam Malik and he said to them, as for me, فعلى بينة من ربي. I'm upon clarity from my Lord. وأما أنت فشاك. As for you, you're doubtful. فاذهب إلى شاك مثلك. Go to someone doubtful like yourself. فخاصمه. So he disputed him. ثم قرأ كل هذه سبيل أدعو إلى الله على بصيرة. This is my way and I call upon it, the path of Allah upon clarity. So here, this is the first way Imam Malik dealt with it. He said, someone not listen to anything from you. You're doubtful. Go to someone doubtful like you. Ask for me upon clarity of my religion. So this is where a person does not let an innovator even say anything to him. He doesn't lend his ears to him. Tayyib, this is the first affair. Another affair which occurred to Imam Malik is where he refuted it with knowledge. An innovation came to him. He heard something and he refuted it with knowledge. Like the statement of Imam Malik when a man came to him, he said, Ar-Rahmanu ala al-Arsh istawa. Allah rose above the throne. Kayfa istawa? How did he rise above the throne? So Imam Malik said to him, Al-Istiwa ma'lum. Istiwa is known. Allah rising above the throne is known. Wal kayfa majhul. How he did it is unknown to us. This question you ask is innovation, and having iman regarding this affair is wajib. وَمَا أَرَاكَ إِلَّا صَاحِبُ بِدْعَةٍ. I see you to be an innovator. Then he commanded the man to be kicked out the masjid. Look, he heard something of innovation and he refuted it with knowledge. The third situation which occurred to Imam Malik that he mentions here, where a person is not able to repel the evil that he may hear. In this kind of situation, he says, قال مالك كان يقول. Imam Malik used to say, do not let an innovator get hold of your heart. Do not let a person of innovation get a hold of your ears. فَإِنَّكَ لَا تَدْرِي. Because you do not know what he's going to attach into your heart from it. You do not know what's going to attach to you from it. So here, you have one option. Don't listen to them at all. Number two, if you do hear something, you come across something, you weren't listening to them, but you did came across and you refute it with knowledge. And number three, if they try to debate with you, you say, go to someone doubtful like yourself. I'm clear upon my way. This is the way of the Salafis, Ahlul Sunnah, upon the book of Allah and Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, upon the understanding Sahaba. I'm clear upon this. You want to argue with someone, go to someone doubtful like yourself. As for me, I have no time for it. So this is how a person should deal with these kind of people. And to further show that, it comes the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, Man sami'a bid-Dajjal falyana an. Whoever hears of the Dajjal, then go far away from him. For I swear by Allah that a man will come to him thinking he's a believer and follow him because of confused ideas roused in him by him. What happened? Confused ideas roused by the Dajjal, and it led him to following him. So here the Prophet is saying, stay far away from him. Why? Because of the doubts he may bring you. Al-Dhahabi commenting on this, he says, أكثر أئمة السلف على هذا التحذير. Majority of the Salaf are upon this warning. يرون أن القلوب ضعيفة. They find that their hearts are weak. وشبه خطافة. And the doubts they snatch you. Like Imam Al-Dhahabi said, majority of the Salaf are upon this idea. That man sami bid-Dajjal falyana an. Whoever hears of the Dajjal, stay far away from because of the doubts he may have. Who falls into that? The people of innovation as well. So Imam Al-Dhahabi says, why is that? Because their hearts are weak. وشبه خطافة. And the doubts will snatch you. So for someone to come say today, you know what? I'm just going to take the good and leave the bad. You don't even know what the good and the bad is. You don't even know what the good he said is and what the bad he said is. How can you distinguish upon ignorance? So what is better? Is safety. As-salamatu la ya'diluha shay. Safety, nothing is equal to safety. You being safe upon your religion, upon the way of Ahlul Sunnah is way better for you than to you to say, I'm going to learn Arabic from this one, and learn Quran from this one, and learn Hadith from this one. And he's putting in your heart poison. You don't even know where he's putting the poison from where. He's putting doubts in you. You don't even know where the doubts are coming from. Tomorrow, you start falling off with him, alongside with him, and you fell off because of those doubts that he put in your heart. And this is dangerous. Some people, they have this kind of thing, I trust myself. How can you trust the Prophet when some of it Dajjal فَلْيَنَعَنْ? Whoever hears of the Dajjal, stay far away from him. So can I trust myself? None of us can trust ourselves in reality. Some of us, we become weak with the people that are around us. We become weak with the things we may hear. So a person, as-salam la ya'diluha shay. Safety, nothing is equal to safety. As long as you can have safety, stay far away from these kind of individuals. Then he says, وقال إبراهيم النخعي في قوله تعالى وألقينا بينهم العداوة والبغضاء قال هم أصحاب الأهواء. Ibrahim al-Nakhai says regarding the statement of Allah that we place between them animosity and hatred. He said they are the people of desires. Ibrahim al-Nakhai, he was an imam, scholar of hadith and memorizer, the scholar of jurisprudence of Iraq. He was also from the minor tabi'in, and he was the mufti of the people of Kufa. Him and Sha'bi at the same time. Al-A'mash, he said, كان إبراهيم سيرفي الحديث. كان إبراهيم سيرفي الحديث. Ibrahim was the Sayrafi of al-Hadith. Anyone know what Sayrafi is? Sarraf or Sayrafi, anyone know what that is? No one knows what that is. A money exchanger. A money exchanger. He's saying here, Ibrahim was like the money exchange of Hadith. Anyone know what that means? A money exchanger, if you give him money, he just touches it, he knows if it's real or not. You put a money in his hand, he touches it, he feels it, he looks at it, he says, this is real or this is fake, this is a counterfeit. Ibrahim al-Naqi, because you're so strong in hadith, you brought a hadith to him right away, he could tell you this hadith is weak or authentic. Look how strong he was in hadith. Right away, him hearing a hadith or the chain, he will tell you this hadith is weak, this hadith is authentic or not, this one has this defect and this one has that defect. Shows how strong Ibrahim al-Naqi was when it came to hadith. For that reason they say, كان الشعبي وإبراهيم وأبو الضحى يجتمعون في المشي يتذاكرون الحديث. الشعبي and Ibrahim and Abu Duha used to get together and go through hadith. فإذا جاءهم شيء ليس فيه عندهم رواية. If something came amongst those three imams, something they didn't know about, رموا إبراهيم بأبصارهم. They'll look at Ibrahim. If they didn't know something regarding this narration, they'll look at Ibrahim, because Ibrahim was very strong in hadith. For that reason they say Ibrahim, his memorization was so strong, he said, I never wrote anything. I never wrote anything. I memorized everything. ما كتبت شيئا قط. I never wrote anything. From that which I mentioned about him, as Imam Ahmed mentioned, كان إبراهيم ذكيا. He was very intelligent. حافظا, memorizer of hadith, صاحب سنة. He was a man of the sunnah. So this narration of him, this verse, وَأَلْقَيْنَا بَيْنَهُمُ الْعَدَاوَةُ وَالْبَغْضَاء, that we place between them animosity and hatred. This verse in reality was sent down regarding the Jews. But Ibrahim al-Nakhai here is saying that it also includes the people of innovation, since they have similarities to the Jews from some angles. And that the Jews, they have a lot of hatred and animosity amongst themselves. And the people of innovation have this similarity with them, that they hate one another. The people of innovation hate one another. For that reason, if you look at the groups of people of innovation, for example, the Jahmiyyah, the Mu'tazila, they hate each other. They don't like each other at all. You see that they hate each other. Or sometimes you find the opposite groups. The Khawarij, extreme, the Murji'ah, they're very watered down. They hate one another. They don't like one another, and they don't like one another's ways. This one says to him he's a kafir, and this one says to him you're a kafir, and like this. The Ash'ari, for example, they came from where? The Mu'tazila. But they're the most groups that refuted them because the hatred they have amongst one another. So you find the Rawafid, for example, they love Ahlul Bayt. They have extremism towards Ahlul Bayt. And then you have another group called the Nawasib who hate Ahlul Bayt. They have hatred, animosity amongst each other. So this statement of Ibrahim al-Nakhi in reality is true. You'll find that the people of innovation hate one another. They can't get along with one another. Shaykh Araji mentions regarding this, in this statement of his is a warning from innovation. Because what is obligatory upon the Muslims is that they be brothers, loving one another. Allah says, إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ إِخْوَةً. The believers are brothers. And it is not befitting that they have between them hatred, animosity, and envy. For that reason, Islam commands the Muslims to be cooperating with one another. Give one another salams. Be compassionate and good to one another. Be easygoing regarding his rights at times. All of that, why? So that their hearts remain pure between one another, and that the believers are brothers, loving one another and not having hatred and animosity towards one another. Whereas the innovators are not like that. They have hatred and animosity between themselves, like the Jews as well. Then he says, وَقَالَ مُعَاوِيْنُ قُرَّةً الْخُصُومَاتِ فِي الدِّينِ تَمْهُكُ الْأَعْمَالِ. Mu'awiyah al-Qurra, he said that the disputes in the religion, they destroy the actions. They destroy the blessings of the actions. Mu'awiyah al-Qurra, he was an imam, scholar as well. from the Tabi'een. And this statement of his, he's saying here that disputes in the religion, they get rid of the blessings of one's actions. Because why? Disputes bring about hatred, bring about animosity. They bring about doubt in one's minds and opinions and thoughts. You find those who dispute a lot, they're very doubtful people. Today they're upon this opinion, they dispute with this one, then they become on this opinion. That's why Imam Malik, he said, فَذْهَبْ إِلَى الشَّاكِ مِثْلَكَ. Go to someone doubtful like you, because he's not changing his religion. His religion today, he sees himself to be upon the truth, then why is he going to dispute with someone and try to change his opinion to go to someone else's opinion? The one who does that is a doubtful person. So the one who does that, and he has this animosity and hatred in his heart, and he has this doubt in his heart, in reality, it takes away from the blessings of his actions. It takes away from the blessings of his actions. We'll stop with this much and continue next week. If there's any quick questions, we'll take